It's time for this Philadelphia Eagles defense to get their swagger back. After 3 weeks on the road, it's back home. The Eagles come back to Philly to close the regular season. And, well, they got to get things back together again. All right, so this video here, this was inspired by one of my commenters. His name is Randy Holtshaver. So he came to me with a statistic and how the Eagles defensively are a lot better at home than they are on the road. So at home, defense allows only 15.2 points per game as opposed to 23.5 on the road. So I took those statistics and I dug into it a little bit deeper because that's an 8-point gap. Is this defense really 8 points better at home than they are on the road? So I went and looked. Now, the first thing that immediately comes to my attention when I look at the opponents, well, as you'll see, a lot of the teams that the Eagles have faced at home, they stink. 5 of the 6 opponents that they've played are in the bottom 8 in terms of points per game. So the Eagles have played the Giants at home, 30th, Chicago, 28th, Arizona, 27th, San Francisco, 25, Denver, 24, and the Redskins are 18th. Now, you go on the other side of the ledger. The Redskins, who were the toughest team the Eagles have played at home in terms of offenses, they're the easiest besides the Redskins that they've faced on the road. So on the road, they've played a lot more better offenses. The Rams are number 1 in points per game at 31.3. The Chiefs are 6th. Dallas is 11th. Carolina 12th. Seattle 13th. Chargers 16th. Redskins, aforementioned, 18th. And the Giants. So when you combine all the teams on the road, they averaged 23.5 points per game. The Eagles' defense allowed 23.5 points per game in those road contests. So they're actually right on number there. When you look at the home opponents, the teams that I listed, 18.1 points per game. And the Eagles' defense has allowed 15.2. So there's been a 3-point difference at home, but none on the road. So when you actually look at that 8-point gap, it's a little bit deceiving. So the reason why I want to make this video, because the home and away stats, because people are kind of brushing off the Eagles' defense's performance the last 3 weeks and saying, well, they're on the road, they're a different defense at home. Well, the statistics kind of don't show that so much, because you look at even the Redskins. I mean, they actually put up 24 on us at home, 17 on the road. So this defense needs to get some things cleaned up, obviously. The last 3 weeks, without Jordan Hicks, this is something that is seriously concerning to me. Tight ends and running backs, okay? So 20 receptions by tight ends and running backs for the Giants, 151 yards. You rewind to Seattle, 11 for 118. And Michael Kendricks is getting exploited. J.D. McKissick on him on an island. So these are things that the Eagles defense is going to have to get fixed up heading into the playoffs, because a lot of these teams that you might face, Minnesota, Jerick McKinnon and Kyle Rudolph. You got the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey and Greg Olsen. You got Atlanta, Devontae Freeman's going to be a handle out of the backfield. The Saints, you have Alvin Kamara. So these are going to be some matchups which are going to be difficult, obviously, without Jordan Hicks in the lineup. The other thing that's happened over recent weeks, the Eagles' tackling has gone to shit. Ew. So all these quick slants that the Eagles were giving up at the beginning of the year, well, they were tackling immediately. So you weren't allowing any yak, no yards after the catch. Well, now all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks have gone on, and now all of a sudden nobody can tackle in the secondary. Jalen Mills. And it's not just the corners. It's Rodney McLeod. It's Malcolm Jenkins. What happened? These guys need to get their tackling back together. So, and then the other thing, Ronald Darby. Ronald Darby has really struggled since he's come back. He's allowed them third most yards to wide receivers since he's come back, 304, I believe, and also the second most receptions. So Jim Schwartz, again, playing the off coverage, not being very aggressive with his corners. And I want to see some more press coverage. I know that's something that Jim Schwartz doesn't do a lot of. But I think it's pretty important to, if this defense is going to keep allowing quick slant after quick slant after quick slant, and then not even making the tackle, this team's going to be one and done. So this defense, it needs to get things cleaned up. You got the Raiders coming in, and that's probably all we'll see, because I'm sure the Eagles are going to beat up on the Raiders and then not play anybody in Week 17. So I'm hoping that we see some adjustments from Jim Schwartz. Adjustments that give me confidence heading into the postseason. So I want to see what his answer is going to be for these tight ends and running backs. And we might have already seen it. Corey Graham did a hell of a job on Evan Ingram, because I believe it was Jenkins that started out on Ingram, and Ingram had like 4 receptions out of the gate. And he finished with 8, but only 2 of them came in the second half, I believe. It wasn't he wasn't doing as much damage when Corey Graham was on him, and Patrick Robinson was also on him too in the slot. Now, some other tight ends that you're going to see in the playoffs, like a Rudolph and an Olsen, those guys are a little bit bigger than an Ingram. Ingram's more almost like a receiver. But I liked seeing that from Schwartz. So you had that adjustment. Maybe we see Corey Graham out there more. And I'll tell you what, too, with this Darby situation, because Doug Peterson said yesterday during his press conference that, well, he might be feeling some lingering effects from the foot injury. So if he's feeling effects from the foot injury and he's out there looking like that, should he even be playing? We'll see. We'll see what kind of adjustments are made. Because Rasul Douglas didn't even play on Sunday. He was a healthy scratch. That, to me, was a little baffling. So things need to be cleaned up. And also, again, I just wanted to make this video to just I don't want us to think that, you know, we're just going to be coming home now and the defense is just going to get fixed. They need it. It doesn't work like that. There are things that opposing offenses have seen and they've exploited the last couple weeks. Has been atrocious. The tackling needs to get a lot better. Needs to get a lot better. Because, again, earlier in the season, when you're giving up a quick slant and you're making an immediate tackle, okay, that's fine. Bend but don't break. But now you're seeing Mills and Darby not making tackles. That's a problem. Can't have that going on. All right. So I'll take a couple look at some questions and I'll hop out of here. Let's see. Hold up. If I can ever get to it. You think Sidney Jones debuts before the year ends? They might give him a look. I don't know how to answer the Sidney Jones thing, because my immediate reaction to them practicing him was, all right, he can practice, but I don't think he's going to play. But if this Darby situation keeps looking like this, and I don't know, maybe try him out, see if he has something. I don't know, but it's also hard for me to think that you're just going to throw him into the fire and think that everything's going to be okay. It's not, you know. We never get to Eli. Playing off on them doesn't help. Then when the secondary does allow the catch, guys are getting 15 extra yards. And that's the thing, is earlier in the season that wasn't happening. And now it is. And I mean, when you're taking a quick slant to the house, that's pathetic. So that needs to get ratcheted up quick. Rasul Douglas get to start. To be honest, Rasul Douglas was playing better than what Darby was doing. Was it bad to trade for Darby? I say no, because obviously at that point, the Eagles needed cornerbacks desperately. So I think it was the right move to go get him. What's your reaction to the Rams destroying the Seahawks, even though they seem to have dissent in the locker room? I am so glad that the Rams beat the Seahawks, because that was my nightmare scenario, was that the Eagles are going to have this divisional game, and then they were going to have to play Seattle. I didn't want to play Seattle and Russell Wilson. Seahawks seem to have our number. So to see them essentially almost get bounced out now, because they're 8-6 and Atlanta has the tiebreaker over them. I don't know if Seattle's going to make it. So you don't have Seattle in, you don't have Green Bay in. It's awesome. Doesn't Derek Carr pose similar issues as Eli did? He gets rid of the ball quick also. He does. He does get rid of the ball quick. Reich said Nate Sudfeld is impressing people in practice. Good. I like to hear that. That's good. Nate Sudfeld greater than RG3 and Colin Kaepernick combined. He already said he will rest. Who needs it? But unlike preseason, he has to play people because they only have 53 players. Yeah, I heard a report that he's going to sit players if they clinch, when they clinch. I think Nick Foles should be playing. I think Nick Foles needs the reps with Jeffrey and Aguilar and kind of get on the same page with those guys. I think he needs more of that. Am I a Browns fan? I actually am a fan of the Browns. They gave us Carson Wentz. Thank you. Huge fan. Huge fan of trading with them. Nate Sudfeld is Nick Foles Jr. Yeah, they literally look alike. All right. Anything else? Are the Patriots a Super Bowl lock now? They're, I wouldn't say a lock, but it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I did like how the Steelers played them, because normally the Patriots kicked the shit out of them, so they at least kept it close, and they obviously had that bullshit call at the end. But they're probably, yeah, I agree with Foolish. They're probably going. Aguilar has been really surprising this year. Yeah, they do own Pittsburgh. They do. Pittsburgh, they play that zone, and they always get picked apart. People sleeping on the Jags should look again at that D. I don't trust Blake Bortles to outduel like a Peyton Man or Tom Brady. I don't know. Great show the other night with all them guys with the Embiid background. Really like that show. Thanks a lot. I'm actually doing that again tonight. That's our PI live show. So Philly Influencer, that's the website I write for. I'm the Eagles reporter for them. We'll be on live tonight, facebook.com. So look up Philly Influencer, and I'll also upload the video as well. Let's see. If we made it to the Super Bowl, can we beat Pittsburgh or Pats? I don't think so, but you never know. I think Gronk would destroy us. Gronk would, yeah. I don't know who's covering Gronk on this team. Okay. When is your next Philly show? Kyle is suffering with the Sixers. I do want to do something soon. The time is just scarce for me right now, unfortunately. Cool. What time I will watch? Yeah, it's at 8 o'clock tonight. So it'll be around 8:15. But I will upload that video as well, so it will be up on the channel. I'll I'm sure it'll be a fun show. Cowboys will not make the playoffs. Yeah, Cowboys are done. They're done. Gronk will rape us. Yeah. It's not impossible, but it's just going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. Definitely not impossible, but it's definitely very difficult. 8 is Eastern. Yes. Yes, it is. Jenkins would shut down Gronk, no doubt. Gronk isn't even the best talent. Okay. I don't think Jenkins would shut down Gronk. How do you rate Ajayi from Sunday's game? I liked him. I thought he should have gotten more carries. I think he should be getting 20 carries, and he got 12. I know they got down, but what do you say to the fans who are criticizing you for criticizing the Eagles? Well, listen. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. But there are things that I'm seeing right now that aren't good enough to win a Super Bowl. And if these people don't want to see that, if they're naive to that fact, that's fine. But there are some things that need to get cleaned up on this defense. You know? So I don't know who else is the best tight end. I would definitely say Gronk. If it's not him, it's Kelsey. Is Minnesota better than Philly right now? Oh, that's so tough, man. Because I think we could beat Minnesota. Like, I really do. Do you think Carson will be okay coming off the ACL injury next year? Or do you think this could derail his career? Will he still be the same player? Now, I in the long term, I think he's going to be fine. But it might take him about a month or two next season to see the Carson Wentz that we saw this season, if that makes sense. And even this season, we saw the first month, like he was going through all those mechanical changes, and he really didn't start getting hot until the Arizona game. That was, what, week 5? That was the first game where he threw 3 touchdowns, and then seemingly every week after that, he was throwing 2+. So, I defended you, Fedkiw. This fan base is getting soft. I did see that. Now, I was harsh on Nick Foles, all right? So I was harsh on him. So I can understand people getting angry at me for him because I guess the point I was trying to make with him was I expected him to go and throw 3 touchdowns against the Giants. I did. So he did what I expected. Dak Prescott threw 3 touchdowns against the Giants. And look at the other games that he's played without Zeke Elliott. He's been throwing interceptions, but he threw 3 touchdowns against the Giants. So what does that say? The Giants have a terrible defense. Now, Nick Foles threw 4 touchdowns in the red zone. That's magnificent. It's amazing. But 4 of 10 on third down, and there were some reads that he did miss. Because what Foles likes to do, he's great pre-snap, and he can make the proper read pre-snap. But when he starts to go through his progression, sometimes he misses something. And that's what happened a couple times on Sunday. Now, he played the way I expected him, and this is who he is, and this is what it's going to be. But I think when you play a Minnesota or a Saints or whatever in the playoffs, you're going to be asked to sustain drives. So you had 2 situations where the Eagles basically got the ball in the red zone because of a block punt and what was the other thing? The Darby interception. So 2 of those red zone touchdowns weren't even from a long sustained drive. So that's the thing for me is I want to see improvement in between the 20s because Minnesota, you're going to have long sustaining drives in order to score points. So I was harsh, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be like that critical, but I was just trying to say some things. Did you see Brian Baldinger breaking down Foles' Wentz-esque plays? I did. It's funny because while I was watching the game, Doug Peterson was serious about not changing the offense. He literally didn't. So I thought some of the moves to elude pressure, like the two, were solid. That Baldinger showcase. I really liked the throw to Jeffrey in the red zone too. That was a pinpoint accurate throw. I love that throw. But there were some other things. I mean, like even the throw to Aguilar for the touchdown, that ball was underthrown. It was very, very low. It was a low toss. And in a playoff setting, that might get picked off. But because you're playing the Giants and a terrible defense, and basically that was a preseason game. They're playing backups. The Giants starters, I mean, they basically gave up on the season. So if you're playing like say Xavier Rhodes and he's on Jeffrey, and you underthrow that ball, that's going to get picked off, and that's a touchback. So it's really harsh and it's really critical, but the reality of the situation is that if you play a better defense, something bad might happen. Oh my God, chill out. We will be fine. See, people don't get it. I am fine. I am chill. Did Foles learn that move from Wentz or Vic? that was more of a Vic move, actually. Yeah. Actually, you know what, Doug? He learned it from you. He learned it from you. Do you agree that Blunt is done? He looks shot to me. Yeah, he hasn't looked good in a month or two. Yeah. I mean, it looks like all those carries that he logged in from last season are starting to catch up because he's not running with that same. Yeah, he's just not plowing people. You're being critical again, Fedkiw. I know. Listen. In order to win a Super Bowl, we have to be critical. We need Rasul Douglas in there. He might be. Biggest idiot, Ben or Derek Carr? Ajayi should run for 100+ against the Raiders. He should. And that's the thing again. That's the funny thing about like the Raiders. They, according to NFL outsiders, they have them as the worst defense in the league. So I expect Foles to have another big game. I really do. Like same thing against the Giants. I think he'll throw like 3 touchdowns. Douglas was a stud when starting in Darby's absence. He was. Yeah, 80. You'd also need to mention Jalen Mills. Yeah, I mean Jalen Mills too. Obviously, the entire secondary, besides Corey Graham. So no more criticism allowed in any future Bitterbirds telecasts. Yeah, some people really don't like the criticism, man. They can't handle it. I have an ability to be unbiased. I don't know. But sometimes it comes across very pessimistic, I guess. Again, Sid isn't active. Who do you deactivate for someone that didn't play all year? I believe they we've been on the road for 3 games. We're going to be bad, just like the Vikings. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Hey, Fedkiw, call NFL Network. There's a job for you if you don't sexually harass anyone. Oh, that's agree. That's secondary starting to regress to last year's secondary, which was burnt toast. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm a little bit worried about. Is this is an exact kind of replica of what happened last year? Hold on. I'm gonna have to move. My battery is dying. I gotta plug my laptop in. Hold on. Hold up. Let me get to the other spot. The other spot that I normally. Hold up. Ah. All right. 3 road games looking to be pulling a turn to be back around. Yo, what's up, Eric? How's it going? Also, inside linebackers aren't doing all that well. That's very true. That's why I was talking about, in the beginning of the show, why I'm worried about tight ends and running backs coming out of the backfield, because they've been shredding us. The sound got all weird. It's bad? What you getting for Christmas from Santa, Fedkiw? I ain't getting shit. I ain't getting shit. I've been a bad boy for Christmas all season long. Santa told me I've been too critical of the Eagles. What's up, Wombat Zombat? What's going on? Wait to see D at home this week first. Again, remember 3 road games. Yo, Bleeding Green, I suggest watch the beginning of this video, because I looked into some statistics, some away and home splits. Our defense was on the road for 3 games just like the Vikings, and we faced Eli, our divisional quarterback, and he said the same thing. He did the same thing that messed us up last 3 games, so we are going to do bad. Well, it's not that we're going to do bad. They just have to correct it. They have to make an adjustment. And whether that's playing more press coverage, whether that's getting better at tackling, whether that's simply getting more pressure from the defensive line, because the defensive line was non-existent against the Giants on Sunday. And it was more than just the quick 3-step drops. As I showed you an example in the highlights that I did yesterday. Derek Barnett got pancaked by Eric Flowers. Derek Barnett got pancaked by Eric Flowers. That's not supposed to happen anywhere ever. Same windows, that's a finished basement. Yeah, hell yeah, J-Hot. Will Foles throw 7 touchdown passes against the Raiders again? Dude, he might. I want the Eagles to win, Cowboys to lose, and Cleveland to beat the Warriors. Yo, what's up, Big D? Going on? Last 2 games, opposing offenses burned us after missed interceptions. Life is funny like that. Foles will bring the city their first Lombardi. Dude, you know what, man? Like, I want this Super Bowl now more than ever. Because, you know what it is? So many of the Cowboys fans and Giants fans, they came out of the hiding when Carson Wentz went down. It's like, oh, now you guys got no shot. And in a way, it is a little bit improbable. But you know what? Fuck that, man. I want to just rub it in all their faces. Fucking get that Super Bowl. And this would be the biggest fuck you to Chip Kelly if Nick Foles, the guy who got traded for Sam Bradford and started the whole process to begin with, if he came in here, filled in, and won a Super Bowl, dude, that's the perfect script, man. The perfect script. That's movie material. That's a freaking Oscar-winning movie right there. I have a feeling they're going to do it if there's something going on. What did I miss? With Jeff, think about the backups. I mean, that's where Nick Foles is getting his chemistry from with a guy like Mac Hollins. With Jeffrey, it's definitely not there yet, because we saw the one attempt inside the 10-yard line where they tried to throw a fade and they weren't even close to being on the same page. And those back shoulder balls, that's something that takes a while to adjust to. That one will be Bradham, Burton, Sproles are free agents. Who would you re-sign? I would like to re-sign Bradham, but unfortunately, the problem is there's not a lot of cap money. So if Foles brings home the trophy, Carson will be even hungrier when he comes back. Um, let's see. Napoleon Dynamite starring as Nick Foles. I'd go see it. What trade value would Foles bring if he won the Super Bowl? Man, I'll tell you what. If he goes wins the Super Bowl, I go out there. Maybe you get a first round pick for him. Bad at Wentz won't play in a playoff game. I'm still feeling the Carson Wentz post depression. Like I still feel it, man. I feel it. I feel so horrible for him because like think about it this way. Carson Wentz has become what Tim Tebow was supposed to be. He's just such a great guy. He does all these things for the community. Stand-up guy, loves Jesus. I mean, he's shows up to work. First one to show up, last one to leave. He's the role model that you strive for, and to see him his season just get cut out like that, it is gut-wrenching, man. I don't think we should trade Foles. We need a backup just in case Carson isn't 100%. That's a good point, but if somebody's I don't know. I would think if somebody's like offering a first round pick, that's going to be tough to turn down. I think if we win a Super Bowl with Foles, I think he may retire after the season. I'm so glad we got Douglas instead of Rowe. Even bigger corner and better, more nastiness and attitude. Yeah, Douglas has been a very underrated piece this season. And he does have some nastiness, and he's got ball skills, and he's got recognition, and he plays instinctively. Because some of those quick slants that the Eagles were giving up on Sunday, well, what he's been doing is he's been jumping them and breaking them up. Rasul Douglas plays the quick slant incredibly well. Why don't the Eagles use J Train a lot? That's a good question. Ask Deuce Staley because I think he should be used a lot more. Not like Nick Foles. He's better than 20 starters. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna look at every starter in the league and see who Nick Foles is better than. Someone tried to tell me that what Foles is just as good, maybe better than Wentz. I wanted to break his face. Let's not say that Foles is better than Wentz because he threw 4 touchdowns against the Giants. Come on. Um, Listen, Foles is a capable player, capable quarterback, but some of the things that Carson Wentz can do to escape the pocket, I mean, some of the things that we've seen, come on, guys. Um, Broncos could be desperate enough to trade their first for Foles. It could be a top 5 pick. How has Jordan Matthews played this year? I haven't been paying attention. I think he's hurt right now. He's been kind of battling injuries this year. It's like Dak versus Wentz. Dak is good, Wentz is special. That's a great point. There you go. That's a great way to look at it. Foles is better than Wentz. You're not praising him enough. Too critical, Fedkiw. If it was a first, then yeah, but it will probably only be a second and fourth. Yeah, who knows? Just like Foles. Foles is good, Wentz is special. Yep. 40 touches for J Train in the playoffs to abuse defenders. I definitely think he should be used a lot. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to hop off. I'm going to start getting ready for the podcast tonight. I do have to write something before I head over there. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys tuned in late, I suggest you guys watch the beginning of this when I was kind of going through some numbers. So do watch that again. Tune in tonight. PI Live. I'm going to be doing that as well. So with that being said, I'm out of here. Peace out.